if someone like offered, hey, do you want to like be an actor on like this TV show, like I'll be like, no thank you. Actually, I might say yes, because that's pretty cool.
I was going to say shut
oh. All right, guys, we're back in action. Last week we missed an episode. Really sorry. I feel really bad because I'm a big fan of consistency. I'm really into habit and just doing things consistently over a long period of time. So it felt pretty weird. So if you guys were one of the guys that were expecting an episode the next week, I'm super sorry. Now, this takes me back to... Actually, no, let me go on this tangent and we can take it back to introducing and seeing how Christian's been. But I think this story reminds me of when I used to sort of do math tutoring. So after HSC, I was looking to sort of make some extra cash. So I wanted to tutor kids and sort of do one-on-one coaching and sort of make some money. Now, I only had my sister's friends. I had like 2 to 3 sort of students, and I wasn't able to attract more students. So what my mum told me to do is like, why don't you go to your local library and sort of just teach for free, teach math for free. So that's exactly what I did. Went to my local library, be like, hey, I want to teach math for free. They were super impressed. They gave me a room, and every Saturday at 10 a.m. I would go in and I'll teach. First week, no one showed up. So I was just on my laptop doing job shipping, trying to figure job shipping out. Second week, no one showed up. Third week, one person showed up, gave them like a pretty solid one-on-one session. Fourth week, no one showed up. Fifth week, I had something go on and I was like, hey, I don't think I can make it today. And I didn't get a response from the library. And then when I came in on the 5th week, she was like, hey, I think we got to cancel this because you weren't consistent. Last week, there were like 2 people that came in for the program because we have like flyers saying how there's math lessons and you weren't there, and we can't deal with this inconsistency. You know, you're this young kid and it doesn't seem like you're taking this seriously. And that was like a big sort of like learning curve. It was like, whoa, like I got to always under promise and over deliver, and that's sort of what really built in the sheer like mental sort of thing of just being consistent and trying to not like break patterns. But yeah, I know you have hopefully this is not making you feel bad, Christian, because Christian has had a long week. Yeah, last week was insane for him. It was not his fault. It was not Stephen's fault. That's sort of why I filmed the Drive with Andy podcast. So last week, instead of filming Christian's, our Flip Side podcast, I filmed a one-on-one podcast with Stephen. It was the Drive with Andy podcast. Stephen sort of talked for a bit, and it was just like my sheer like need to like be consistent. I had to do something that Monday because I wanted to get something out for that week. But it was not your fault, Christian, at all. But yeah, how's everything been, Christian?
I'm just gonna log off this call right now. I feel so bad now. Oh my god. Oh, good to be back. Good to be back. Thank you so much. But firstly, going back on the story, bro, what the hell? You were there for 5 weeks in a row, and they said 1 week, and you weren't consistent, bro. Get out of here, dude. Get out of here. That's so stupid. Especially because you took aside the time to go, you went, and then everything, and then yeah, for free. And bro, these libraries, bro, they're so stupid. People didn't know what they had until they lost it. You know what I mean? That's exactly what it was. They didn't know what they had until they lost it. But yeah, happy to be. I'm so sorry for last week. Last week was quite busy for me. External commitments at work. It got a bit hectic. Things are a bit hectic right now even. That's why we're filming this quite late. Usually we film on a Monday evening, but it's Wednesday at the moment. A lot of things have happened. You'd think that it's only been like 2 weeks since we last spoke, but so much has like happened in the last 2 weeks. So I think we can openly talk about it now. Studying.com.
Thank you.
It's been in the works for some time. Well, I didn't know about it until it was, I think, completed, right? But studying.com, everyone that's listening, go on Google, go and type in studying, studying.com. That's my man's domain right there. That's my boy.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I feel really good. It was like a long working journey. I like didn't want to make it official because like the website looks clean, but the website's probably like nowhere near where I want it to be. Like right now the website you're currently seeing, it's sort of like the base sort of like version 1, like beta phase version 1. Like this is probably like there's so many different, like I want the website to be way better than it currently is. But I just wanted to share studying.com. I couldn't hold it back any longer. And like there was like a mixed feeling of like, should I like share and document what I'm doing early, or should I hold it off? And like in my mind, I think every time I think of holding back and sort of showing when things are 100% done, sort of my fear of am I procrastinating kicks in. So for example, with the new membership portal, so me and my developer coded a whole new membership portal from scratch for students, and I think I prematurely launched it too early. Now the pros are, one, we transition early, all the new students go straight to the new portal. There isn't going to be more students that we have to transition over. Once we get it done, it's done. When we get it done, when students are using it, we can catch bugs really fast. It forces us to really move really fast to get things done when they're live students using it. But the cons are, now new students are joining the new program and the new portal, and they're seeing all these bugs and they're like, what the fuck is this? At the same time, students that went into the new portal are like, oh, this is cool, but I prefer using the old portal. They will never sort of transition over because they had a bad first experience. Thirdly, the bugs, when they're bugs, it still takes us like 12 hours to fix it. So there's people getting pissed. So, but if we didn't have all these students on, we wouldn't be able to catch all these bugs, and we wouldn't be moving as fast as we are to fix all these issues. But I think there is a sweet spot. I definitely want to maybe, like now I know that when I launch something new, I want to get it to 90%. The portal, I probably only got it to like 65% before like launching it and transitioning students through. So next time I'm going to wait till like 85% and then get it launched, because the time it takes to go from 85% to 100% is just like inefficient, that you might as well have 200 students testing it to increase that speed.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, at the end of the day, you just had to pull the trigger on it. You know what I mean? Because if you didn't pull the trigger on it, you're right. If you waited until it was say 85 to 100%, and then there was still the same bugs, the small niggling bugs that are there pertinent throughout, I mean, what's the point? You might as well launch it out, get the bug, like find out the bugs now, iron it out, then keep progressing with it, keep changing it. It's so funny because we're going through, like, obviously the scale is substantially different, but that's the reason why I was busy last week. At work, we transitioned to a whole new system, like completely new system. And it's funny what you mentioned, because some students are like, the new ones are coming in and they're like, what the hell is this? Why does it look so beta? And like, you know, why is it all buggy and glitchy? Whereas the old students can appreciate the layout, the format of it, and it.
The previous students definitely appreciated it. The new students were like, what the?
Yeah, but I guess it happens with anything when you're like the first, I wouldn't say trial phase. Actually, no, I'll say trial phase. You know, they're essentially trialing it out at the moment in terms of the new system, etc. And when they're trialing it out, they're obviously going to think that. It happens with anything with new. It's the resistance to change. There's going to be resistance to change no matter where you go. Like where you're going, in my workplace, it's just hit the fan. Everyone's just losing their, because we're doing the same thing. We're finding bugs in our systems, and that's why everything's just all over the place at the moment. But I mean, there's always going to be the hard transition phase, and once you get over that hurdle, it's the hardest hurdle. It's smooth sailing from there, isn't it? It really is.
Do you reckon your company launched at 65% when it should have launched at 85%, or do you think it was actually at 85% but it still like had issues? What's your thoughts?
So there's a multitude of reasons as to why it's like screwing up at the moment, but it launched at 85. It launched at 85% because the system had been in place for some time and people were using it for a different section of it.
Yeah.
But our particular division are only using it now. And there's a lot of little niggling bugs, because for their system, for a different department, it works fine.
Yeah.
For ours, there's a little bit of bugs and stuff. So it's obviously it's a larger scale, but I mean the same translates across to your portal.
When you report a bug, how long does it take for them to fix the bug?
Well, at the moment, because how large a projects team is and the transformation team is, they try to have it done as soon as possible, but everyone knows it doesn't take that long. It's not that easy, because I mean, you can speak for experience as well. It takes some time in terms of finding it, then ironing out, then you have to, I'm assuming you'd have to test it. I'm not working at the projects and transformation, so like I'm assuming you'd have to run a beta of it and then trial it, test it out, and then once that gets, then you get feedback, and then from the feedback, then you can look to implement it correctly, etc. And then, I mean, how are you finding it?
finding it pretty like every time there's a bug, I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? But our team is like on it pretty fast. Like we get a message, they send it to sort of our developer, and our developers on it straight away. I think every time we get a message about, hey, I can't access my course, it's like a mini sort of like my heart, like it's a mini heart jolt. It's like, oh, we need to make sure that student can access their course straight away. But then we get it dealt with. So I think it's not too bad, but I think we launched at 65 when I should have, like, there were so many different things I could have changed. I was definitely not happy with how it looked. It sort of was like, okay, I wasn't happy or like I was pretty thrilled, but there was like, I wanted to make it look better. I wanted to be more intuitive. And I knew that, but I launched it anyways, which was, I think, not good. So I think in the future, I'm definitely gonna at least get to 80% before I go live. But I think with what I did, it actually ended up working pretty good because all the changes are happening super fast. Like we're gonna get to 80% probably a month earlier than, like, if we were still doing these changes, it would still not be launched. And it'll probably not be launched till maybe 2021. But we've been able to launch like 2 months ago. So people have been able to use it for 2 months. We've been able to get used to the new system. And we're probably going to get all the changes done hopefully in the next like week or two. So we've probably like shaved off a week, and plus like probably another month of just like breaking in.
You know, I honestly think you made the right decision. You 100% made the right decision. I think the timing of it was perfect as well. Just before 2021, you got all these goals you want to kick off. This is probably the last little goal that you had 2020. Get it off the list, get it out and running. And you're right, like I said it earlier as well. The time that you would have spent waiting to hit 85%, you're going to literally hit that within half of that expected time now, because of the feedback that you're getting because of the trial tests you're getting, and then because of everything that's going on, you're going to get that half the time. It's going to get up and running twice as faster as well. And look, it's just only going to go up. Very big congratulations.
Thank you. And then talk about the topic of having to break in and the topic of how, like, you as an employee that sort of used the old system and transition to a new system, you're like, wow, this is great. But the new employers were like, what the tell me about that.
So for me, it was a rough one, because the old system, whilst it wasn't as, looks nice and clean and modern and like it just didn't look better, because the new system looks better. It's aesthetically pleasing, and you know what it is, it's you have to keep everything, the format and layout of it, everything quite simple, easy to read, easy to interpret, and easy to navigate, right? I mean, I'm sure that's something that you're getting feedback from as well. Old system was disgusting to look at. It was in action since God knows when, early 2000s, or even who knows when, right? But it got the job done. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was easy, interpretable, and it was simple. This one has a lot more new features, which makes it a lot easier for us to do our work. But that transition was so tough, and everyone was hating it at the start. And so we work with a team that we call them the offshore team. They're a team offshore working overseas, right? And so the new system essentially thought it was smarter than it is, and it's starting to pick up on things that it shouldn't be picking up, and therefore our workload has increased tenfold, because things that used to in the old system just be weeded out are getting picked up in the new system.
Wow.
And then for us, it's like all this work that we shouldn't be having to do, we're having to do. And then so that's the problems so we're giving them the feedback saying, hey, this shouldn't be on, this shouldn't be on, this shouldn't be on, because we know we're not meeting deadlines because of these issues. And it's just,
is this a software issue or like the offshore team issue?
It's a bit of both. Because I'll explain it to you when I see you in person, obviously. But for example, when something gets sent to us, it needs to be approved by the offshore, but offshore, instead of them doing the job because of their numbers also drastically increasing, they're sending it to us unnecessarily, and it's just becoming it's becoming a mess. Yeah.
Interesting. Got it. Yeah, because another thing, like on the topic of perspective and like how like the old employees appreciate the new sort of system, and the new employees like don't have anything to look at. So over there, like for example, when I sort of moved to America, Like I was like vacuuming floors, I was like washing dishes, I was cooking, I was like freaking knocking down buildings, I was like cleaning, I was vacuuming cars, I was freaking grouting toilets, I was like washing the bathroom, I was doing all this shit, and like to me it was like, oh, I was like, oh, like I like it's worth it, like this is okay, like I've done all this before. Then there was like my other interns like Tony and Juan who washing dishes, they're like, oh, I'm just washing dishes, vacuuming, oh, I'm just vacuuming, mopping, I'm just mopping, mowing the lawn, I'm just mowing the lawn. But then there's Steven, who's like, I guess, a new person or someone that's just really sprouted at a really late age, where doing mowing the lawn, washing the dishes, mopping the floor was manual labor, was like child labor. Like I was like Osama bin Laden, and he was like a child slave having to wash his own dishes. Wash everyone's dishes. So if we had 4 people to eat, not only did he have to wash his own dishes, but he had to wash everyone's dishes. So it was like really manually tough for him. So that's sort of that's what sort of came to mind when you told me about the old and new employees appreciating or hating the new system.
It's all part of the process, isn't that right, Steve? It's all part of the process. You need to learn.
That is
And
correct. Yes.
I hope you do. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Now that, like, as I told Andy, I don't even know why I said that. I guess, like, I didn't think, and I got to work on that. But at the same time, I guess I wanted to, be myself when I was around the new interns. Like, try to show them who I am. I'm like a guy who just likes to joke a lot. I'm very bright, positive energy, that type of dude.
And then when he was saying that, I was like, Stephen, what about, tell them about the good stuff. And then Stephen just froze. He was like, besides like the manual labor, I guess I learned like leadership stuff or something. Like I tell people to do things. I was like, what? And then we start talking about.
You meant to be a senior. You meant to be a senior in this situation. You meant to stand up and you meant to show that leadership skills. And instead, you shut the bed, you idiot. Oh my god! But it's okay.
We'll skim past this topic. I could go on and on about how I was like, Steven, so now you're telling about how this was an amazing experience. Tell me about what you really think about the manual labor. Oh yeah, it was really, really tough. I was like, I'm trying to give you a layup on trying to like recover yourself, but you just kept digging the hole deeper and deeper. But we'll skim past that. What's your thoughts on the new sort of students you have? You're now a sort of Jonin, and you have some new tunings underneath you.
Well, gonna teach them some jutsus that I know, that I've learned from you, Andy. You were like Kakashi or Minato, and like you said, this is like Naruto, where you have the Further Kage teach Minato, then Minato teaches Kakashi, Kakashi teaches Team 7, which has Naruto in it. So it's kind of like that in a similar sense, Yeah.
Everything was strategic. I think what I really want the reason why I chose Kim and Jennifer is like I think your enthusiasm, your lightheartedness, that's definitely something they can learn from. 2, I think like Jennifer's like, she's like really particular. She like seems like the girl that does everything. So she's really gonna like push you to like get stuff done. Like it'll be weird if she's like, hey Steven, I've done all my tasks. What should I do next? And you'll be like on your ball. What's your thoughts of the 2 students that you've been assigned so far? We're going to meet 2 more on Saturday. Maybe you get I think actually I heard from Hui that Jennifer's friend, like she has a close friend that is supposed to come. So you might get like you might get Jennifer's best friend as well.
Ooh, so... Just from hearing that, maybe they work well together. Maybe they study together, and I think like that energy will push me to, become a much more developed person to lead them. Especially since from what I heard, Jennifer is really hardworking. She's like an overachiever. She wants to always put in 100% effort. And I don't think I heard that much from Kim. I kind of forgot what she told me, but yeah.
You have to step up now. You know that, right?
Yes, that is true.
You
have to like.
You have nothing to hide behind.
Exactly. You have to make it fun. You have to like do
Yes.
it like extracurricular activities. You need now you're the one that's gonna have to like pay for the bill. You're the one that's gonna have to take them out. And that's a new thing. I just noticed like now all these interns, they're gonna have to look after their students. So that's gonna be a new experience. I'm excited for like this next chapter for you, Stephen.
Yeah, I've been driving a lot, so I can take them any place they want to go, make them have a good time.
Nice,
I'm
nice.
down for it.
I'm glad to hear that.
And for anyone that's listening, Andy's just assembling his mini army. He's getting ready to raid the world. He's just assembled this small army of 10 to 12 people, and he's ready. He's ready to go. I love that.
Dude, in my affirmation booklet, one of the image is like the Avengers. For some reason, actually, this is what I learned from Vince. Like Vince was all about building a team, having it tight, having like each person play a big role. And that really made me be a fan of like, dude, like eventually I want to build my own Avengers team. Like freaking have like everyone be unique characters, everyone have their own thing, own skills, own personality. And everyone sort of have this one core vision that everyone's trying to do. So that's always been the goal. And hopefully with these interns, over 2, 3, 4 years, if I go ahead and teach like 50 different students, or like they join the program, even if at least like 5 to 10 stay, like that's more than enough. Like if I get 5 Avenger members, like that's all I need, and that will make the whole situation worth it. And what I've learned is like I've put in my sweat, blood and tears to the initial 3, Stephen, Tony and Juan, and hopefully now they're able to pass on what they've learned onto these new interns, and I'm no longer having to manually put in the effort that I did with the initial 3 with 12 different people. Now hopefully they can sort of do it, and that's sort of how things can sail. You sort of, full circle when we talk about shadow clones.
Yeah, I was going to say as well, it also comes back to the topic at the beginning, like the resistance to change, in terms of, like you'll see with new students, they'll find it, especially after Stephen's comments, they might find it harder to see the vision, or they might find it a little bit more difficult to trust and believe, etc. So it's in that process of induction, getting them into it, getting the groove into them, and then you can finally build your little army of shadow clones, and then once they trust and see that as well, and overcome that barrier of resistance, makes it a lot easier as well. Definitely.
Exactly. I definitely want to also talk about how I moved my work days to Monday, Tuesday. I want to talk about how today I turned into a potato. But what I realized, we haven't talked about current topics in a long time. What's your thoughts on Logan Paul versus Mayweather?
Oh my god, dude. On top of Logan Paul versus Mayweather, have you seen what Jake Paul's been doing?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've been told crazy.
This retard thinks he can fight Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor will snap him with his bare hands. If Conor McGregor ever sees Jake Paul in the street, he'll actually kill him. You've seen videos of McGregor lose shit, right? The guy's got no brain. He will actually kill him. He just does not give a shit.
He's a wild animal.
He's an animal, and Jake Paul's just there, like after beating Nate Robinson in a boxing fight, he thinks he's the king of the world. Bro, you will get your ass. But in saying that, Logan Paul vs Mayweather is confirmed, and I texted you straight away, and I was like, "What?" Like, it's like obviously I don't know anything about boxing at all. I've only seen like a few fights, etc. But I mean, you don't need to be an expert to understand the magnitude of this and how ridiculous this is, just for everything. Like, what?
I know.
I'm so shocked.
I sent Christian this meme right after. It's a bunch of these young, like 10-year-old kids sitting and discussing and saying, I really think Logan Paul has a chance because he's much heavier, he's much taller, and has a longer. Like I feel like that kid. Like when I see the Jake Paul McGregor, I'm like, maybe Jake Paul has a chance because McGregor doesn't box. He's a MMA fighter. But then again, McGregor has boxed against Mayweather, and he trained a lot for that. But at the same time, Jake Paul's trained. Dude, I can't believe I'm like those kids. That's like, Jake Paul actually has a chance.
I feel like those kids in the sense that because I'm actually giving it the attention that it doesn't deserve at all. Like just watching that guy go about his day-to-day life, I don't think I've ever been more frustrated at anything in my entire. I look at him, and I'm like, God, this guy's a wanker. Like, how do people enjoy watching him? I don't know. I just don't like
You know
it.
what he reminds me of? He reminds me of those freaking cool kids in high school that like are freaking the troublemakers, but they're just these hard-working troublemakers where like despite all the like freaking them being a dick, them being arrogant, them being egotistical, they put in the work and they get results, and you're like, the bad guys, the guys that aren't nice are somehow fucking winning, and it just triggers every nice guy.
That's true. Like, there's one thing you can't deny. That guy works hard. Like, I don't know what he works hard in. When he puts his mind to something, I think he'll go out and set an achieve. Did you see he tried to create an education sort of platform system? Yeah, what a twat. I wonder how that's going now at the moment. I think surely it's dead. It's gotta be dead anyway.
Dead.
But like, you're right. Like, he's one of those people that you hate to see it, but he does put his heart and soul into whatever he tries to do. So with the boxing fight, you saw that he trained a lot and that he wants it. Like, this McGregor stuff, like, he's pushing for it so hard because he knows, like, A, the money, and B, like, if he wins that fight, like, if Jake Paul beats Conor McGregor, but it'll be boxing, it won't be MMA, you know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, I get what you mean. Like, you see the bag working hard.
You know what's also crazy? Like, these guys are like, dude, Jake Paul's 23. Like, Tana Mongo, she's like 22. Freaking Jack Harlow, he's like 22. Like, Kid Leroy is like, I don't know, 18
16,
or 16.
no,
like,
16, yeah.
It's so intimidating seeing all these young people killing it. Like, what I tell myself every time I think about that is like, if I just stuck to one thing from the age of 18, like, for example, right now my company has been running for only a year and a half. Like, literally, I came back to America a year and a half ago, and within a year and a half it's grown so much, given that I required the previous experiences to have it grow this fast. But if this project is 3 years old, 4 years old, like, it's just like exponential growth. And that's sort of what I tell myself. It's just like having to do one thing for a long period of time. Like, freaking, I think I saw a meme or post. Jeff Bezos at the age of 22 was like working in McDonald's or something, and now he's like the world's richest person.
And it's like 3 to 4 years ago, Jake Paul was like no one. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, not that he was a no one. He still had a following because he came from Disney, etc. Right? But the Pauls really blew up after they started YouTube and just doing crazy. Right? So like,
yeah, now it makes sense because they're in it for probably like 7 years now. That makes sense. It's been 7 years.
They've been doing it for that long, and I think they've realized that, I mean, with YouTube, it's very hard. Like, you need to be able to, what's that saying? Oh, evolve or be extinct. I think that applies quite well for YouTube because maybe like even PewDiePie has changed completely from what he used to do. He used to do heaps of gaming content. I haven't watched him recently, but I think he doesn't do as much gaming content anymore. But you need to be constantly looking to do what the next thing is. And that's what Jake Paul's doing extremely well with what he's doing. He got into boxing, and then now he knows exactly what he needs to do. If he can get a Conor McGregor fight, like, I've said this like 5 times now, but he started from Disney to making shit YouTube videos, to still making shit YouTube videos, to beating a couple people in boxing, and suddenly all the limelight's on him. 10-year-olds will pay the pay-per-view to watch him box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People will pay, and like, the numbers are there, and you can't argue with the numbers. But it's like, watch in 5 years' time, Andy will be a boxer as well. And he'll be a pro boxer, and he'll be calling out Floyd Mayweather.
Dude, everything's legit time, and I think, like, after figuring that out, I'm no longer pivoting and jumping onto different things, because every time you jump, you're just restarting again. Like, I'm just laser focused. Like, I'm not picking up any side gigs. Like, everything I do has to like align. Like, for example, the flip side is sort of aligned to the Anime brand, the sort of personal brand, the YouTube. I'm not like I wouldn't, if someone like offered, hey, do you want to like be an actor on like this TV show? Like, I'm like, no, thank you. Actually, I might say yes, because that's pretty cool.
I was going to say shut up.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. It depends on the show and depends on the vision as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just sign up for something and just, like, it's like, you got paid $20 million to fight Mike Tyson. To fight Mike Tyson, you get $20 million. And if the fight's in 3 months, would you do it?
Yeah, I'd do it.
I would not die. Mike Tyson would kill me, bro.
What if I, like, so, like, in my mind, if there was, like, for example, there was an opportunity to create sort of like this new course about like how to grow your TikTok, it will take sort of say 3 months, and the bag would be say 20,000. Now I would have to like, that would probably like, that's something I could do, but the answer would probably be like, no.
That's hella side gig, you know what
exactly.
I mean? So I think that was a bad.
No, but I was trying to emphasize how money. Whereas like this boxing opportunity where 3 months time I could grab a $20 million bag, that makes sense. That's like, okay, that makes sense. So I think money definitely comes into play when it comes to the saying, everyone has a price.
100%. I have a price as well.
What would your price be to get in the ring with Tyson?
Nah, I don't think I ever would, bro. That guy's
50 mil?
years old.
50 mil?
Depends on how far he'd go, because he could actually kill me.
But like, you can just like, you can just get knocked out and then like TKO. No, is that TKO? And no,
yeah, but it sounds all well and true, but the injuries you can sustain from receiving a blow from that man to your face, you could actually get like fucking brain damage from that too. I mean, because boxers are trained, right? They train every day. They get hit in the face every day. They cop it, and then when they get hit, they just got knocked out.
But what if you just run out you have 3 months to train. What if you just hold your hand up the whole time? And what if you just run out the ring? You tap and you just run out the ring.
I mean, if that's an option, they'll collect that bag.
That'll be really embarrassing. Everyone will hate you, and you'll be a meme forever. But it'll be worth, the bag.
The bag, but the bag will probably be stolen because someone will just come and just vandal you. But yeah, everyone does have a price at the end of the day, depending on what for. You want me on your podcast? I don't cost that much. I'm joking.
Another thing that's changed that we haven't talked about. Have we talked about it? Biden won against Trump.
Yeah, we did talk about it, but I think Trump's still going on about being a sore loser. He's still appealing to the Supreme Court about the whole thing. And I actually don't know what happens from there, because he is the president until now. He appeals to the Supreme Court saying, the votes were rigged, or the vote should have gone in my favor. I mean, what can the Supreme Court do other than, surely they can't do a recasting of the vote. There's no way.
Dude, it would be crazy if he pulls some shit. Like, I think there's nothing to lose by appealing. Like, that's a pretty smart move on his end. It's like, what's there to lose? Give it a shot, appeal it, and like, even if it's a 1% chance, like I think that's what business people do. Like, what I've noticed is I'm just casting nets out randomly. I'm just like DMing people, being like, hey, really love what you've been doing, would love to connect. No reply, that's fine. And I'm just like casting nets out constantly whenever I see someone cool, hit him up, or like, that's a cool car, maybe I should like go up and say hi and ask them about their car. I'm just like casting nets, and literally 99% of them don't lead to anything, but 1% of them do, and that's all I need.
And we've seen that 1% come to fruition. We've seen it come to fruition. But yeah, 100% agree. And it is a business like mentality where you need to keep trying until you succeed. And I mean, Trump's a man of his own little thing. But on top of all that as well, have you read the news lately about what's happening between China and Australia?
Oh, apparently they put up a Twitter. Apparently, as an Australian was like had a knife behind like a Islamic child or something, or like was that the one where?
I'm talking more about the trade tensions.
Oh, did you see what I was talking about there?
I think it was like a joke that someone from China made, or China was mocking us or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but bro, whatever China says happens, or you know what I mean? Like, when they say something, they make it like it happens, because bro, how are you going to say no to China?
Yeah.
I think from what I read, China, so what's going on at the moment is there's currently trade tensions between Australia and China regarding coal imports and coal exports for Australia. So you're seeing I think Japan at the moment is our highest consumer of coal. I think, yeah, thank you, Stephen. Yeah, so you can see that Japan's our highest importer of coal, so we export to them. And then second is China, being like 21%, I think. And they've just recently, I don't know what's going on, but some of this escalating trade disputes, and they're saying, oh, that we're just not going to accept coal, and that extends to wheat and barley as well. And it's like, Australia's actually, our economy's 21% of our coal exports, just because we need to find somewhere to export the coal to.
Yeah.
If 21% of our demand has just decreased. Like, that changes everything. Like, see what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Like, China, although like America and China have these like arguments, like if China snap their fingers and say, I'm sorry, I don't want to do this, everyone in the world will fall to their knees and start begging. We can't afford to manufacture mobile phones at the same cost that China can. No one can afford to do anything at the same prices that China charge or cost or whatever, you know what I mean? Because it's a communist country. Like, you just can't, it just won't work here. It's crazy, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I want to bring this like conspiracy that I think I've told you before about like China taking over the world. Like, what I'm thinking is like, if we ever become this dystopian movie where one sort of party somehow rules the whole world, dude, there's gonna like be the mafia, the like Yakuza, like all these freaking gangs that's gonna just go straight to the top and kill this like Hitler type person. Like, if you reckon, okay, if there was a Hitler today, or in say 50 years, there's this Hitler is taking over the world, can some Yakuza, some mafia, some I don't know what other gangs you call them, just kill this like Hitler, this 21st century Hitler?
Oh, that's a very good question, isn't it? I mean, I don't know as much as on this topic as I'm sure other people would, but just going from the general facts that I do know, obviously Hitler being a authoritative dictator, whatever, blah, 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 right? In 21st century, I think he'd have a lot, I don't know, like if he was still going about genocide the way he was back then, I think fear would still be there. I think if anything, gangs would want to side with him because they know it'd be easy for them to just go straight to him and be like, let's form a partnership and I don't think they'd overthrow him because it wouldn't make commercial sense for them to overthrow, you know what I mean? But I can see it. Oh, that's such a hard question, because when you think about it, there's so many complexities that you just don't factor in when you consider this.
Because I'm thinking like, what would be bad is if sort of China somehow sided with all these sort of like these like gang sort of operations. That would be like really, really scary. But at the same time, I always have a feeling that like these gangs, like, they don't want to be controlled by a communist party. They prefer the current Democratic Party because they're easily bribed. And that's sort of what sort of I learned. It's like communists would never sort of like take over because there's all these gangs that don't want to be controlled by anything. They want to be freely operated. They want to bribe the sort of US government to like do whatever they want, bribe the sort of polices, have control of their money. And again, right now the world runs on the US currency. Literally, even in Australia and UK, all the big drug dealers, they deal in US currency. Imagine if China took over and was like, hey, we're no longer trading US, we're now trading in the Chinese yen. Imagine if these drug lords with literally warehouses stacked with USD cash and that all became worthless, they're going to be pissed.
Yeah, I know exactly. I think we did talk about this in person briefly a couple of days ago, but yeah, dude. And it's weird because I can see it happening. It's weird to think about, but in terms of, you're right, USD, the most commonly traded currency in the entire world. If you want to change money from AU, I don't know, if you want to change a currency from X to Y, it will most likely go through an intermediary being the US anyway. That's why it's just more common. Everywhere in the world will trade US currency, whereas I get what you mean, right? So you're right, like if the Chinese yuan took over and essentially became the predominant currency, wow.
A lot of people will be pissed.
Yeah, a lot of people
with power, with like freaking snipers, with like suicide bombers, are gonna be like, I'm not happy with this communist government that I can't bribe, that I can't have my way with, that can't let me do what I want with freedom. I'm just going to take them out.
I get what you mean. Yeah, and when you put it in that perspective, yeah, 100% makes sense, because these gangs, obviously they operate in their own on their own terms and their own demands. They don't want to be told what to do. But at the same time, it could work out in their favor as well, because they could just form a partnership to operate in their own.
Exactly, and that's what would be really scary. Another thing I want to talk about is cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Recently, there was this company, this guy named, I forgot his name, but basically he has an investment fund, and he converted all his money, all his sort of like money that he has for investing into Bitcoin. And then I was thinking, imagine all these drug dealers like converted their money into Bitcoin, it'll be like game over. But Bitcoin is like becoming like it's like at its peak at the moment.
Do you think?
In price.
Do you think so?
So right now the price is actually at its peak. So it's like 25,000.
Yeah.
Now,
but that's interesting, because that's like if what you said comes to fruition in terms of just as a hypothetical, and the USD is no longer the most favorable traded currency, and then essentially the balance of favor tips towards, or just say that it becomes like every currency has the same sort of transactional prowess as a US dollar.
yeah.
Bitcoin will 100% so, because Bitcoin will be the safer and easier alternative for everyone, because it's just Bitcoin. It's not its own. I mean, cryptocurrencies.
No one owns it.
Yeah, there are different types of cryptocurrencies, and that could essentially operate in the same way that it would with different countries' currencies. But yeah, I think that crypto would be the go-to if that happens.
Yeah, and what's scary is like then that completely debuffs what we just talked about. Like if crypto becomes a new thing, it's like every country, like literally, I understand why the US is scared of cryptocurrency, because it literally makes their currency worthless. If everyone does convert, like literally, you could literally buy. There was this post. It was like it sort of went viral. It was like, please buy $5 of Bitcoin. I was like, holy shit, you can actually buy 0.00001 of a Bitcoin. Like,
yeah,
Bitcoin is so flexible. It's like, but I think what it will eventually be, it will just be gold. You know how gold so it goes up and down, it's pretty stable. Like, it's just gonna end up becoming gold, where it's like not actually used, but it's just like storage of currency. And it's not gonna be like, people haven't become millionaires off gold.
You're 100% right. I think it'll be like a safe haven in dark times, such as like this year, where investors flock to it as a safe haven asset, as opposed to investing in the market, because it'll just be its own value there. Whilst its transactional purposes are essentially nil. It's not a transactional currency, or it's not transactional yet, right? So it's essentially like gold, where its price will continue to fluctuate, but it'll just be a safe haven asset.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I heard that over the weekend you just like knocked down and got a ton of sleep, Christian.
Yeah, I got like 12 hours of sleep. It was fantastic. I enjoyed it so much. Saturday, that's because like I was working long hours this week, so like I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna sleep. So I slept all Saturday, and Sunday I just recovered. But this Sunday I'm keen. I want to do something. I want to go somewhere. 2020 is literally about to finish. Any plans for Christmas?
As of right now, I think there might be a family friend sort of dinner for Christmas. New Year, nothing planned as of yet. I'm going to be losing my license on the 29th of December. Hopefully, I'm going to go get the appeal, and hopefully that gives me till the new year. And hopefully I pass the appeal. But I do want to go on like crazy, like if I go ahead and appeal and the court date's like on the 15th, literally like I'm just going to like go on the road trip from the 5th to the 14th, and then just like come back and go to court.
This guy will keep you updated, everyone, on the next episode or the next few episodes to what happens when this guy loses his license. Of all people that lost their license, it's the one person that loves going on drives and
guess what, Christian? Recently, I caught up with Tony again today, And I was like, yo, like, John was like, yo, can I bring you lunch every fortnight and just like come in, just like get you lunch? Like, he's like, he's diamond on Uber Eats. He just orders so much. Can I be your Uber Eats and just bring you food every fortnight? I was like, yeah, for sure. I was like, I'm actually going to do it, Tone. I was like, yeah, feel free. And then like, I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to lose my license.
So you're gonna be his Uber Eats driver for every fortnight, and now you've lost your license. Well done. Well done. Look at this guy shining. All right, guys, we're gonna cap it off there. I appreciate everyone listening. Thank you so much for listening today. It's been a while. I'm gonna make a promise right now to make sure we don't skip a week prematurely. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much. Andy, do you want to close it off?
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I really miss doing this, Christian. Like, this was like butter. Like, time flew. Like, we hit the 50-minute mark with ease. So it's crazy how much this is like butter. Last week, like, doing the podcast on my own is like tiring. It's like tough, like talking on your own. Stephen helped a lot, but it's like tiring. And what we have is just like butter. So I'm pretty happy with the current format we have. But yeah, thank you for listening. No more missed episodes. Really appreciate everyone's support, and we'll talk soon. Peace.
We will make up episode. Take care.